Hello there, my fellow myth and fantasy nerds. My name is Tanner, and I'd like to welcome you back to my YouTube channel. So, that awkward moment where you wanted to make a Father's Day themed comedy roast to celebrate your dad, but then you're not creative enough to make jokes that aren't jokes that only the family will get? Happy Father's Day anyway. Oh, also, in case you haven't noticed, I'm back in my studio. Now that that's all settled, today's video will be a continuation of last week's video, where I introduce you to the D&D characters that I've created, but have not yet played. As I mentioned in my last video, link up in the cards and in the description down below, I've decided to break this series down by character race, or species if you prefer, and for this week, I will specifically be going over my Centaur characters. Now, you may have noticed in my last video that some of my characters might have similar backstories, with some alterations depending on their classes. As I've mentioned earlier in this video, I'm not that creative, so this group is not going to be an exception. So make sure you leave a like on this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe down below since that always helps. And without further ado, allow me to introduce to you the first character in the second group of D&D characters I've created. Gwis? Yes? Oh, greetings to you all. My name is Gwis-Summer Muse, and I am a Centaur Bard. Now, my backstory is not as extensive as some of the other characters Tanner has created, though tragedy definitely abounds just the same. Once upon a time, I roamed with my herd, wandering from place to place, protecting each other when need be. One day I wandered off by myself when the herd was resting, and I found a young half-orc that was cornered by a pack of wolves. Now, being the good Samaritan that I was, I chased the wolves off and rescued the young half-orc. When my herd found out, they considered this a dishonorable act, because they considered themselves too great to be ridden by anyone. Because of this, they exiled me, and I have been wandering the world on my own ever since. Now, Tanner's plan, once he plays me to the correct level, is for me to become a College of Glamour Bard. He thinks this fitting, since the College of Glamour is meant to be tied to the Fey realm, and in this world we centaurs are considered Fey creatures. As for my ability scores, my highest are a tie between my charisma and my wisdom, though both of these are at a mere 12, so that is not saying much. On the other hoof, my worst scores are my strength and my dexterity at 8. And as for my alignment, I am aligned with the chaotic good. What this means is, I prefer to let my conscience be my moral compass. Do not get me wrong, I do think I possess a good heart. However, I have little need for rules and laws and things of that nature. You understand, don't you? Anywho, it was certainly a pleasure to make your acquaintance. And now I will pass it over to the next character. Toh, care to entertain? Indeed I shall, Whis. Thank you. Hello all. My name is Toh-Centaur, and as with the others in this video, I am also a proud centaur. However, unlike Gwis, I am not a bard, but a warlock, whose upbringing is very similar to his, except I saved a young wood elf. Eventually, once I left my herd, I had a vision in which I saw a large sequoia tree. The sequoia then turned, revealing a face to me. The tree ant, for that is what he was, introduced himself as Old Redbark, and he thanked me for saving the wood elf, who, as it turns out, was one of his warlock servants. As thanks, he made a pact with me, becoming my archfey patron, and told me that all he wanted in return was for me to protect the forests and strike down those who would dare threaten them. Now, as for my ability scores, Charisma is going to be my strongest at 17, and my worst score is once again Strength at 11. Anyway, my patron is an archfey, as mentioned before, which essentially means a very powerful fey creature. When old Redbark made a pact with me, he gave me an arcane focus, which takes the form of a pendant made of amber encased in a small cage of twigs. When Tanner does eventually play me, and plays me to the correct level, he plans on having us go with Pact of the Blade, where my patron will give me an enchanted weapon, which, despite the name, Tanner plans on it becoming a bow, made of enchanted redwood, which appears to have been ripped straight from the tree itself. Also, like Gwis, my moral alignment is chaotic good. Oh, look over there. It is the next character Tanner wants you to meet. Mezilan. Yes, Tell? Oh, hello. I did not see you there. I am Mezilan Winterforce. As with the others in this video, I am a centaur as well. However, in my case, I am a sorcerer, specifically a clockwork soul sorcerer. My backstory begins in the same way as my previous centaur brethren, with me traveling with my herd. However, that is where the similarities end. The reason for this is, one day I wandered off by myself when the herd was resting, and I found a strange object, humanoid in appearance, but made of a strange metal. I approached, and I saw a strange device where its heart would normally be. Curious, I reached out and I touched it. As soon as my hand touched it, I felt power flowing through me, and I saw a vision of a very strange world, a world of interlocking gears, a world of order, and of small mechanical constructs roaming this world of gears. I knew that this mechanical object was connected to this world, and when I touched it, the magic from that plane became infused within me. I came back to the herd, changed, altered. The others noticed it. They saw that I was different, and they treated me with caution. The day they finally saw exactly how different was when our herd was raided by a tribe of orcs. My people fought them off as much as they could, but the orcs definitely had the upper hand. That is, until I suddenly summoned up a strange power. I used the magic of that strange realm, the magic that was now infused with my very soul, and drove the orcs away. The tribe saw the power that I now wielded, and I was ostracized and cast out of the herd. I've wandered the world ever since. Now, when it comes to my ability scores, my highest is going to be, of course, my charisma at 15, whereas my worst score will be my dexterity at 8. I'm obviously going to be rather clumsy. However, unlike my fellow centaur characters, my alignment is lawful neutral. What this means is that I hold order and organization paramount, even above good and evil, and I will follow the rules no matter the cost. Anyway, I should probably send you over to the next character. Khamri? Ah! Don't sneak up on someone like that! Please! I'm sorry. I should not have yelled. My name is Khamri-Centaur, and I am a Centaur Druid. My story is actually very similar to Noah from the last video, except the dragon who destroyed my druidic village was a fire-breathing red dragon, instead of an ice-breathing white dragon. Also, since I am not an Aasimar, I did not have an angelic guide to warn me about my village, but I had to hear it being destroyed, which arguably is much worse. Now, like with the others, Tanner has not yet played me, but he does plan on making me a Circle of Land Druid once I get to the correct level. Also, as with most of the other centaurs you've met and will meet, I am chaotic good. My highest score is my wisdom at 15, but my worst scores are my strength, my intelligence, and my charisma, all of which are at 11. Anyway, it was nice to meet you, but I need to commune with nature, since that helps me calm down as well. Elrit, how do you take over while I do? I'm sorry, what was that? Oh, my sincerest apologies. I did not see you there. Greetings. I am Elrit Moonbreaker, and I am a Centaur Wizard. Now, my story is rather similar to Gwis-Centaur and Mezilan. However, after I saved the young half-orc and was subsequently cast out from my herd, the young half-orc I saved took me to the wizard school where he studied at, and I learned magic there until I was able to leave on my own. Now, unlike with my fellow centaur characters, I am of the neutral good alignment, and Tanner's intent, as soon as he plays as me, is to specialize as an Order of Scribes wizard, as soon as I get to the appropriate level. Now, as for my ability scores, my highest scores are both my intelligence and my constitution, both of which are at 16, and my worst scores are my strength and my charisma, both of which are at 8. Now, of course, we've got to round off this group of characters, and I think I know just the centaur for the job. Oh, Thendel! What? Oh, apologies if I scared you. My name is Thendel Greenfighter. Once again, I am also a centaur. However, I am a centaur barbarian. My story begins the same as most of the other characters here, with me wandering with my herd. However, when they were resting, I wandered into a grove, which, unbeknownst to me at the time, was connected to the Feywilds. Also, unbeknownst to me, the magic from that plane became infused within me. I came back to my herd changed, altered. The others definitely noticed. They saw that I was different, and they treated me with caution. The day they finally saw just how different I was when our herd was raided by a tribe of orcs. My people fought them off just as much as they could, but the orcs had the upper hand. That is, until I suddenly summoned a strange power. I summoned the most powerful rage I had ever felt, one that was infused with the magic of that strange realm, the magic that was infused with my soul, and that drove the orcs away. My tribe then saw the power that I now wielded, and I was ostracized and cast out of the herd. I've wandered the world ever since. Now, once again, since Tanner has not played me yet, Thendel, this is not battle. You don't have to rage. I do not yet have a character level. However, the plan is when he eventually does play me, when I reach the right level, I will take the barbarian path of wild magic. Anyway, my best ability score is my constitution at 15, and my worst score is my dexterity at 5. What can I say? I'm a centaur, I'm clumsy. And of course, my alignment is neutral good, like Elrit. Anyway, I think it's high time Tanner wrap up here. Tanner! Thendel, just because you're a barbarian does not mean you have to be so aggressive. Anyway, and there we have it. That was the second set of D&D characters that I've created but haven't played yet. If you liked this video and you want more, please leave it a like and subscribe down below so you don't miss any new ones. Also, if you have any other ideas for any future videos, please leave your thoughts in the comments down below, and who knows, it might just happen. Alright, well, that's all the time I have for this video, so I'll see y'all next week with a brand new one. See you guys then.